Welcome to practice, everybody. We are in the third week of a 5-week series. And I say that not to scare you away if you've missed any of the weeks, but just to kind of give you a sense of context of where we find ourselves. And we have been moving through, the reason this is a 5-week series is we've been moving through the koshas, which is from the lens of yoga philosophy, these kind of 5 layers of the self that bring us into deeper relationship with our self-awareness, with our self-understanding, and ultimately self-compassion. And so we start with the most gross layer, which is the food body. That was week 1. Then we drop to the next layer, which is the energy or breath body. And that was last time that we were together. And today we are in the land of the monkey mind. So we are in the mind layer. And each of these layers is always a part of us and is really just a different lens for developing that muscle of self-awareness. And I tend to think that the mind is the one that is the most sticky. It's the one where we can get a little trapped and stuck, and we can start to really get hung up and think we are the mind, as opposed to developing more of a witnessing and watching quality to the mind. So that's what we're going to attempt to cultivate in the practice today. So go ahead and find yourself into a comfortable seat. If you want a supportive prop, because we'll be here for a couple minutes, feel free. I'm coming here into Siddhasana, the accomplished pose, tucking my right foot into my left calf, but you can find any comfortable seated position that works for you. As you find a nice resting place for the hands, you might begin to close the eyes or just settle them on something in front of you. And really start to move through those layers as we arrive in the practice. So you can begin by simply acknowledging that the body's here. You have physically arrived in the practice. And because the body is here, that means that that second layer of our being, which is the breath, is also here. And so you can begin to acknowledge the breath, noticing what it's like right now. And then as we bring the body into stillness and we invite the breath to be full and complete, you may become aware of the state of your mind. What is it like right now? And you may begin by just acknowledging that thinking is happening. And thinking is, in fact, what the mind does. But also starting to remind yourself that you don't have to attach yourself or contribute or add on to the thoughts. Instead, you can develop more of a witnessing quality towards them. And just give yourself about 3 to 4 more breaths, just acknowledging that thinking is happening right now. Witnessing the thoughts coming and going. And then we'll start to take that quality of witnessing with us as we start to invite movement into the body. And we'll start with just some gentle half circles, releasing chin to chest, and then rolling right ear to right shoulder. And then chin back to the chest and going the opposite direction, left ear to left shoulder. And just moving at your own pace, side to side for a few rounds. BKS Iyengar, who's the founder of Iyengar Yoga, one of the most prominent yogis of the 19th and 20th century, is quoted as saying that the brain is the hardest part of the body to adjust in our yoga practice. The next time your right ear is over to your right shoulder, just stay there for a moment And then take your left arm, reach it out parallel to the floor, turn your left palm to face up towards the ceiling, and start to drop your left fingers down towards the floor. And this is going to start to stretch the nerve endings from the tips of your fingers all the way to your left earlobe. Take one more breath there. And then just let your left hand land back into the lap or the knee, roll through that half circle to the other direction, and we'll add on that little nerve stretch with the arm on the other side. So left ear to left shoulder, right arm reaches out, palm faces up, and then with the fingers outspread, you start to drop the fingers down towards the floor. And if you want more sensation, activate that sense of spreading the fingers apart more. If you want less sensation, soften the palm of the hand. Last breath. And then bringing that right hand to lap or knee, letting the head float back up to center, and then start to just move from side to side. And this can be very watery, very kind of seaweed-like as you kind of sway from side to side. And don't overthink this. Like, you may even notice right away that your mind starts to have some commentary like, well, this is weird, or I'm not sure I'm doing this right. And you can just be like, okay, thanks for sharing. And then just stick with the movement. We'll be here about 3 more breaths. Just noticing the mind's commentary without getting too attached. And then as you come up to center, pause, take a big circle sweep of the arms out and up. Bring the hands out in front of you about halfway. We've done this every practice thus far in this series, and we'll do some seated cat and cow. So pulling the heart forward and then pushing the floor away and rounding the spine. So as I pull forward, it's like my palms are pulling back as my heart lifts and reaches forward. And then as I push down, I round the spine, the back of my heart opens and expands. And just flow through a few more times. And a lot of this practice is going to be this attempt to not overthink what we're doing, to notice how often the mind really gets more involved than is necessary. Very nice. We're coming into Uttanasana. So again, without overthinking it, just lean forward into the hands, kind of unravel the ankles. I'm going to tuck my toes. I'm going to take a little, boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, to land in a forward fold. My knees are soft because we're still in the warm-up portion of the practice. And then whatever movement feels good. I'm feeling a little tight in my legs today because I actually did 3 yoga practices yesterday, so my body's feeling that. So I'm like, okay, and I'm going to just sway. Breathe into that stiffness. And then we're going to take 5 half Uttanasana or half lifts and then full folds. So you're going to invite your hands to come behind your calves. As you inhale, lift up to that tabletop, long spine. And then as you exhale, my hands slide down and I kind of use my forearms to invite my body to come into a deeper fold. And take that 4 more times. Inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale, deepen. Use the arms to deepen the fold. 3 more. Riding the breath on your inhale. And then riding the breath on the exhale. 2 more. No need to rush here. And folding. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhaling. And circle sweep the arms, this time coming all the way up to the top of your mountain pose. And then gathering the hands, letting them slide down the midline, landing in the center of the body. And go ahead and walk yourself forward to the front of your space. So we're starting to transition into our sun salutations. We'll start as we often do, just with 2 half salutations. So inhale, sweeping the arms out and up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, taking that half lift. So in the language of Sanskrit, exhale, folding forward. There is a name for this mind body or mind kosha. Circle sweep the arms out and up to rise. It's called the Manomaya Kosha, hands into heart center. Circle sweep those arms out and up. Manomaya Kosha, the mind body folding forward over the legs. Also known as the mind sheath. Half lift on the in-breath. Exhale, folding forward. Sweeping the arms out and all the way up. And exhale, hands into heart center. We're going to move into 2 Surya Namaskaram A. Circle sweep those arms out and up. We don't need to rush. Moving at the pace of our breath. Full exhale as we fold. Inhale, take the full length of your inhale to half lift. And exhale is a bigger movement, stepping back to the plank, lowering through your chaturanga or half push-up. Then inhale into your back bend. That could be a cobra or an up dog. Back to the downward facing dog, and we'll take 3 breaths there. And the Manomaya Kosha, the mind sheath, consists of the superficial layer of thoughts that kind of sprint across the surface of the mind, those thoughts that come and go very quickly. Inhale, look to the front of the mat. You could walk, step, or hop the feet. Inhale, half lift. And fold in. And then sweeping out and all the way up. And hands into heart center. One more Surya A. Circle sweep those arms out and up. And folding over the legs. Inhale, long spine. Take your full in-breath. As you exhale, step back and lower. So more movement on the out-breath. Inhale, you find your back bend. Exhale, pulls you up and back into the dog. The Manomaya Kosha also consists of that deeper, subtler, and more ingrained layer of thought. So our deeply held beliefs. And sometimes those are true, and sometimes they're beliefs that were ingrained in our culture or through our family. And we think that they're true, but it's because we've never really questioned them, because they're so deeply embedded in the mind. Inhale, looking forward. So as we develop the relationship with the mind, stepping forward, inhale, half lift, we can start to really get to know the deeper layers of the mind. Fold. Sweeping those arms out and up. And hands into heart center. We're just going to do 2 more sun salutations today, lunge salutations. So release the arms, stand tall on your breath in. And then as you exhale, gather all that energy, bring it together, heart center. Sweeping the arms forward, up, a little back bend at the top. And then folding forward over the legs. Stepping that left foot to the back of the mat and lower that left knee down. Sweep the arms out like a T position and then drop your right fingertips down and lean to the right for a lateral bend. Just take a full breath here. Then inhale up through center, going the other direction. Left fingertips down and fold to your left. Lateral bend to the other side. Inhale, coming up. Reach both arms up, full in-breath. And then exhale, stepping back, find your plank and move through your chaturanga. Inhale, I'm going to take a cobra this round. You could do up dog. Back to the dog. We're going to keep it flowing in the lunge salutation. So as you look forward, you could take a more compassionate transition, lowering knees first, but the left foot's going to step forward. Find that low lunge, lift the arms out to a wide position, drop the left fingertips first and fold to the left. Enjoy a breath there. And then riding the breath to pick up. Right fingertips find the floor and fold to the right. And just mastering the art of observing, noticing what you're thinking. Reach the arms up. Arms float down. Step the right foot forward to meet the left. Fold. And then rise all the way up to mountain, back bend at the top. And hands to heart center. Last sun salutation, release the arms, stand tall. Exhale, hands gather that energy to the heart center. Reaching the arms forward, up. Back bend at the top. Folding over the legs. 3. Lead with your right this time. Right foot back. Right knee down. Shift back. Spin your right shin out like a kickstand and reach your left leg back like a supported side plank. We have some side planks coming in the practice today, so just give yourself a couple breaths to feel into this part of the body. Take one more breath right here. And then as you look down, you're going to spin down. Left hand comes down to the mat. Lift your right leg up. We're going to take 3 sunbird bows. So you're going to bend the elbows back, chin reaches forward, and push up. Take 2 more. Sunbird bow and push up. Last time, sunbird bow, push up. I'm going to do a half chaturanga. Drop my left knee, find a half plank, lower through my chaturanga all the way to the floor for my cobra, and then press back to my downward facing dog. Take a breath between sides. And then we'll take that sequence on the second side. So looking forward, my right foot is going to step forward. Left knee is going to come down. I find a more shallow lunge as I create my kickstand with the left shin and then reach my right leg back, right arm up. And just take a couple breaths to get acquainted with this side body position. This is a variation of Vashisthasana side plank, one that you might choose to revisit later on in the practice. And then 3 sunbird bows. Look down at the mat, right hand down. Spin the left shin in and lift the right leg, and then bow for 1 and press up. And bow for 2. And notice if your mind is thinking, wow, this is hard. 1 more. The mind has some commentary. That's fine. Drop the knee. Bonus vinyasa here. Half chaturanga. All the way to the mat. Nice big bhujangasana cobra. Back to the down dog. And we'll take 5 breaths to sort of conclude the sun salutation portion of the practice before we transition into a standing sequence. Just asking yourself, do I need to adjust my brain? As Iyengar said, the brain can be the hardest part of the body to adjust in our yoga practice. Last breath in our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And we're going to start to create Vashisthasana side plank. So we're going to shift forward to our plank pose. And then for the side plank, spin both heels to the left, reach that right arm up to the ceiling. Now remember, you could drop the bottom knee and find a support here. Okay, holding for 3. For 2. Long, smooth breaths. Now we're going to bend the top right knee and step the right foot forward for a supported side plank. Yes, thread your right arm underneath. You can watch if you need to. Walk the hands to the left and you'll land in a wide-legged forward bend facing the long edge of your mat. I'm going to turn around so my head is facing you. And for a moment, much like we did in our seated position, let your body kind of swim from side to side. Maybe you let one knee soften at a time. This is not a classic yoga movement. This is just getting into your body in a way that's kind of coaxing it open in a really gentle, fluid way. And then let yourself land in a central position. Bring your palms down, straighten your elbows, and spin your heels in at a 45-degree angle. Good. Start to bend your knees deeply into a squat. And then you could keep your hands down for support as we have right now, or you could lift your elbows, push your elbows into your inner thighs. You can see my palms are facing up. And I'm holding this powerful squat here. Relaxing the face, just 2 more breaths. What's the thought pattern in your mind right now? And then let the hands lower as your hips lift and spin the heels out so the feet are parallel. Walk both hands to your right foot. Take your left hand to either your outer ankle or your calf, and then start to place your right hand on your waist. Twist to the right, lifting your right shoulder. Let your left elbow melt towards the mat, and maybe extend the right arm up towards the ceiling. One more deep breath here. Walk your hands back to center, Skandasana skater pose. Bend your right knee. You could take high skater, as I'm showing now, hands down, upper body lifted, or low skater, dropping the pelvis, lifting the left toes, and bringing hands into heart center. So deciding where you want to be in your skater. And then we'll come all the way to the front of the mat, finding a low lunge, dropping that back right knee, left knee is bent. Inhale, reach the arms up. Nice, hands come down, step back to downward facing dog or vinyasa, up to you. So you can hang out in the down dog or find the vinyasa. 3 breaths between sides. Beautiful. Second side of the sequence. Inhale, shift forward to the plank pose. Spin the heels to the right. Lift the left arm. Find your Vashisthasana side plank pose. Noticing if the mind has any contribution, any thoughts to share, and just watch those thoughts coming and going. Bend the top left knee, step the left foot about halfway to the center of your mat, and take a full in-breath there. And then thread the left arm underneath. Walk the hands to the right. Find yourself in your Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, heel spin in 45 degrees. Drop into your squat. All of this is a repetition. You've done this. Hands could stay where they are, or elbows coming to inner knees and finding that deep inner squat. Holding. As we really get to know the quality of our mind, we gain so much valuable information about ourselves. A lot of insight about who we are. Hands to mat, lift the hips, feet parallel, and then just wash yourself from side to side, like seaweed in the ocean. Soft and fluid. This kind of movement can be very encouraging for the body to open into these wide stretches. And then let the legs get strong, knees straight. Walk both hands to the left foot. Let your right hand find outer ankle or calf. Left hand to the waist, and then twist to the left. Lift that left shoulder to the ceiling. Let the right elbow get heavy. And maybe extend that left arm. How's the breath here? Just because we're working with the mind-body today, not ignoring the breath or the physical body. Last inhale. And then exhale, walking the hands back to center. Stop in the center. Inhale. Bend your left knee. Find your Skandasana skater pose, either high or dropping low. Skandasana. And as often as we adjust our physical body, how often do we adjust our mind in our yoga practice? Do you need to adjust the mind? Last breath here. You're going to face the front of your mat as you come into that lunge. You're just there for one breath. And then step it back for your vinyasa or straight to down dog or child's pose, particularly if you're feeling a little bit fatigued. Downward facing. We're going to move through that sequence once more on each side, a little bit more fluidly. And noticing how the mind responds to the repetition. Already is the mind like, oh, I have to do that again? Or are there things it's looking forward to? When you're ready, inhale, shift forward to the plank pose. Heels to the left hand stays down as you find your Vashisthasana, just one breath here. Bending the top right knee and stepping that right foot forward, and then thread the right arm underneath, walk the hands to the left and find your wide-legged bend. Inhale here, bend the knees, spin the heels in, and find that kind of deep squat, option to elbows to inner thighs. And then hands to the mat, spin the heels out, let yourself sway from side to side. Just one breath. And then walking the hands to the right foot, left hand to right ankle or calf, right hand to waist. Find the twist. Reach the right arm as you melt the left elbow. Skandasana at the back of the mat. Left knee bends. You could stay high and skate or drop low and skate. And then coming to the front of the mat, transitioning to a lunge. Just one breath in that lunge. And then again, either straight to the dog or vinyasa. So lots of options, none of which are better or worse. It's just what's right for your body today. And notice sometimes the mind will push you to do something. One more breath before we do the second side. As you inhale, shift forward to plank. Let your heels shift right. Left arm to ceiling, Vashisthasana. Just one breath in the side plank. Bending the top left knee, left foot lands on the mat. Thread the left arm underneath and walk the hands to the right for Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees, spin heels in, find your squat. Option to lift the arms. Full breath here. Hands down, hips lift, feet parallel. Let it get swimmy and watery for a breath. Noticing the quality of the mind. Walk the hands to the left, right hand to left ankle or calf, left hand to waist. Twist to the left. Left arm to ceiling. Melt the right elbow. Finding your Skandasana as you release the twist. Skate over to the back of the mat, high or low. And then coming to the front of the mat, one breath in the Anjaneyasana lunge and Vinyasa or Adho Mukha Svanasana down dog. Drop the knees for a moment. Sit back to a child's pose. And just witnessing your mind without judgment. Noticing what is there in the present moment, and knowing that learning to witness the mind can be an incredible source of information about yourself. So we're going to come into the inversion portion of the practice. I have a clock right up there that I can see to the second. This will be a 90-second practice. And I'm going to suggest down dog, dolphin, or headstand. Okay? So choose one that you feel like you can sustain for the majority of that time, at least half of that period of time. So down dog, dolphin, or headstand. So start to make your way there. If you're in your headstand, you could do tripod or classic Shirshasana, and then start to make your way up into your inversion, making sure that you've got full, complete breath. If you're in your downward facing dog, anchoring through those 4 points of contact, the palms of the hands and the feet, hugging the upper arm bones together. If you're in dolphin, rooting down through the forearms from fingertips to elbows, neck is spacious. And if you're in headstand, letting the mind stay calm and at ease. Sometimes the mind can get a little freaked out. You're fine. Last 20 seconds. Take one more complete inhalation. And then as your body exhales, start to make your way into child's pose, knees to mat, hips to heels. And we're going to take this into a deep hip opening sequence that's going to start with tadpole. So in tadpole, we widen the knees like a very wide-kneed child's pose. And we keep the big toes together. And then we bring the torso forward so that the forearms and the palms of the hands are on the mat. So we're like a little tadpole. And we start here for just a few breaths. And we just notice, okay, we're bringing the awareness to the inner thighs, through the groin. And for some of our bodies, this is more than enough. We don't need to anything else. If you want to take this and progress to frog pose, I'll turn sideways so you can really see anatomically. My hips slide forward until they're in line with my knees. So now I have a little triangle with my legs. The next stage would be to flex my feet and slide my shins out until I have a right angle at my knee joint. And then the final kind of flourish would be without lifting my hips, which I don't want to do. Keep them low and just slide them back a few inches. And then you'll find it. It'll be there and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's it. And really noticing in this posture, and I'm watching the clock, we're going to be here about 30 more seconds. But noticing how the body is having its own experience of this posture. The breath is having an experience. You may want to hold it. So you want to make sure you're staying full and relaxed with the breath. But the mind is also having an experience here. And just noticing what the mind is thinking, and you can notice it without contributing. 2 more breaths. Now when we come out very mindfully. So I'm going to shift my hips forward a little bit, bring my big toes back towards each other, and then walk myself back, palms up. And then instead of sliding, which can antagonize the hips, I want to lift and place my knees underneath me. And then shift forward to an all fours position and wag your dog, just like a little happy puppy. Let your hips go side to side. That's going to really start to release any tenderness in the inner thigh region. Nice. Good. And then drop the hips a little bit to the right and then a little bit to the left. Just do that 1 or 2 more times. Good. Very nice. We're going to step up for a forward fold here. So we're going to bring the pelvis onto the mat. We're going to come into a diamond shape Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of the feet together, holding onto the front of the ankles, taking a nice full inhalation, and then exhale, let yourself round forward, the crown of the head moving towards the nest of the arches of the feet. Typically, we're really only aware of the superficial thoughts and images that float across the surface of the mind. But as we really develop a relationship with the Manomaya Kosha, the mind-body, we start to grow in our relationship with the subtler aspects of our mind. And we start to notice the things that we repeat, kind of like those underlying thought patterns that may or may not be helpful. But we only notice those things by developing a relationship with the mind. Take one more breath in this Baddha Konasana. And then start to lengthen out through the crown of the head and start to float up. You're going to take your peace fingers, loop them around your big toes, and then you're going to start to see if we can come into a balance. So I have to, as you can see, I had to kind of teeter-totter my sitting bones forward, and then I can sit back and start to find my balance. And you could stay here with the feet together. This can be somewhat playful. You can start to extend one or both legs. You can alternate. This can be very fluid. You can even take Ubaya Padangusthasana, which is like a boat pose, holding on to the big toes. Sometimes I like that one. And just take a couple more breaths here. And then we'll start to bend the knees. We're going to release with control. We're coming onto our backs, so make sure you have enough room behind you as you extend your legs and start to shift forward onto the back. We're going to move into some leg lifts. So for me, I like to have my palms underneath my buttocks for this. So I'm going to tuck my palms underneath my buttocks. And then I'll elongate my legs up towards the ceiling. So I'm like in a waterfall or capital L position. And I am going to activate my legs here because this is an active posture that I'm working with. I'm going to take a full in breath. And then as I exhale, I'm going to drop just my right leg but down about 1/3 of the way and pause. Then I'll inhale fully. And exhale and drop another 1/3 of the way and pause. Inhale, and I'm thinking of my legs like scissors here. Hover my right heel just over the mat so my legs are sharp like scissors, and then lift my right leg all the way up with my left. Now we're going to switch. Inhale. Exhale, lower the left 1/3. Pause. Breathe in. Lower 1/3. Hold. Breathe in. Hover. Hold. Lift the left up with the right. Okay, you know what we got to do, right? We got to do both. Inhale. Here we go. Lower 1/3. Pause. You've got this. Keep the back ribs heavy. Breathe in. Lower 1/3. Hold. Breathe in. Hover the heels. You've got this. Breath in. We're just going to do it one more time. Legs up. Here we go. Last time, breath in. Hover a third. Hold. Breathe. Another third of the way lower. Hold. Almost there. Breath in. Hover over the mat. Last breath in. And then knees into the chest. Wrap your arms around the knees. Apanasana, giving yourself a nice hug. Spinal twist, taking the arms out, letting the knees fall to the right, keeping it really simple in the spinal twist today. Ooh, I got some nice little snap, crackle, pops there. If you've been holding on to any breath patterning like Ujjayi, you could begin to release that. Really letting the breath be soft here. So step one is just to develop a relationship with the mind so that we're aware of what we're thinking. We're aware of the patterns in the mind. Knees pass through center. Maybe you want to pause for a moment. And then when you're ready, let the knees fall to the left. And then once we're aware of the patterns in the mind, if we notice patterns that really are unhelpful, are not of service to us, then we can begin to change the stories that we're telling ourselves. But we can't do any changing if we're not first just aware of what's going on. Bringing the knees back into center. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees fall out wide. Supta Baddha Konasana. Hands could come onto the belly or the heart or even overhead. Last asana or posture before Shavasana. Just enjoying the surrender to gravity. And then when you're ready, extending the legs and the arms and finding that position for Shavasana. And first, notice the body. Invite the body to relax. Remembering that the physical body can rest. Then notice the breath. Let the breath be natural, uncontrolled, easy. Letting the breath breathe you. And then noticing the mind. And if there are any thoughts in the mind, you let them come and you let them go without any need to attach yourself to them. Just witnessing the mind. And then without moving your physical body, you can invite your breath to deepen and become more conscious. And then as the breath deepens, you can reanimate the body by wiggling the toes, maybe opening and closing the hands, maybe reaching the arms overhead for a full body stretch. And then gathering yourself and making your way back up to a comfortable seat. And we'll close this practice by bringing the palms of the hands together. And just appreciating this time to come together and cultivate our self-compassion, our self-awareness in community. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Victory to all of our practices. Chai.